evening, I'm Pinky Webb. Tonight we ask the questions, we tackle the issues, we clarify matters, and we get on point. Different elections, same names. For decades, political clans have dominated much of the country's governance. Despite repeated calls, Congress has long struggled to pass an enabling law that will ban political dynasties. But several lawmakers are not giving up the fight for reforms as corruption issues hound the government. Let's get on point with Akbayan Party List Representative Perci Cendaña. Congressman, good to have you again. Welcome to the show and thank you so much for your time.
Good evening, Pinky, and thank you for having us again.
Before we talk about the anti-political dynasty bill, first, let's talk about this cabinet shakeup. Breaking news today, Ralph Recto is now the executive secretary. Secretary Frederick Go is now the DOF chief, and Rolando Toledo, DBM OIC. Basically, Bersamin out and Pangandaman also out. What does this say to you? Was this necessary?
Well, given the timing, perhaps it is necessary politically from the perspective of Malacanang. Pero sa dulo, ang mahalaga ay how will this benefit yung ating patuloy na panawagan for transparency and accountability. We have yet to see ano yung magiging impact nito doon sa transparency and accountability campaign, and will this eventually result to holding accountable yung mga nagnakaw sa kaban ng bayan.
Congressman, does this somehow one way or another solidify the revelation made by former Congressman Zaldico?
Well, we can read in so many ways about the rationale behind this shake-up in the cabinet. Perhaps there is a political impact of the revelations of former Representative Zaldico. Sabi nga nila, wala masyadong legal basis yan kasi hindi pa naman sinumpaan at wala pa doon sa proper venue. Pero meron talaga yung political impact in terms of the balance of forces, not just inside Malacanang, but yung sa broad balance of forces within the administration and their allies. So we have yet to see how this will unfold, and we hope that in the end, kung ano man yung maging direction itong efforts of Malacanang will lead to greater accountability. But at the same time, hindi ito pwedeng maging hugas kamay lamang at smokescreen for the President and Malacanang to make the necessary explanations to the public regarding the allegations of former Representative Zaldico.
Would you say it's a step in the right direction?
We have yet to see that, Pinky, because what we are now hearing from the news is that these are just resignations and replacements in terms of positions, but we have yet to hear what are the accountability of the individuals that were replaced. Ano ba yung kasalanan nila? Bakit sila pinalitan? Bakit meron ba silang pagkukulang kaya sila tinanggal sa pwesto? That we have yet to hear from the palace.
Tinanggal sa pwesto, Congressman, o nag-resign?
Nag-resign o tinanggal sa pwesto. So we have yet to hear that from the palace. Ano yung dahilan?
All right. VP Sara, let's talk about her also because she came out with a video basically saying, and some of the parts I will speak verbatim. Sabi po niya na uunawaan ko ang galit ng taong bayan. Nasaksihan ko mismo kung paano minanipula ng House of Representatives ang budget ng DepEd. She was referring to instead of classrooms, basically she said, instead of a budget for the classrooms, it was used as pork barrel. And she even added that basically she left government because she did not want to be part of this kind of government that fools people. A reaction on that, Congressman, please.
Well, I think it would be very critical for the Vice President to also face the mirror. Let us remember that it was during her term and incumbency in the Department of Education kung saan nasama at napasok sa mga issue ng korupsyon ang departamento mula intelligence funds hanggang yung confidential funds hanggang yung underperformance in the construction of classrooms hanggang yung iba't iba pang mga usapin. So we hope that while the Vice President is expressing concern for issues on corruption, sana magsalita din siya pagdating doon sa mga issue ng corruption na kinakaharap niya.
Idadagdag ko na po yung sinabi rin niya, the President now faces a profound crisis of confidence, especially how these scandals are being handled. We seek answers on how a budget that deprived Filipinos of billions of pesos was approved under his watch. Again, just a reaction on that, please.
Well, we are all calling for accountability when it comes to the budget. That's why there's this very broad movement of civil society organizations, of ordinary people expressing disgust and anger over what happened dito sa flood control scam. Pero at the same time, we'll also go back to the issue of corruption. Napakahalaga that when you speak, dapat kaya mo rin sagutin yung mga allegation sa'yo pagdating sa usapin ng corruption. And I'm referring here to the Vice President.
Okay. We're talking about accountability, transparency. That is, of course, the theme of the 3-day rally of the Iglesia ni Cristo. How do you accept or even understand what are your thoughts on the 3-day rally now on its second day and tomorrow being the last day?
Well, we recognize our citizens' right to organize and to express their political views, right to peaceful assembly. We also recognize the important role of religious leaders in the country to make the moral call when it comes to very critical historical conjunctures like what we have now. And we hope that whatever the direction that these movements are going to will result into actual political reform. For example, we hope that this movement for transparency will also join our call to finally enact a law that will ban political dynasties in the Philippines. We hope that they will also join our call for other important political reforms, which include reforms in the party list system. So sana yung pagkilos para sa transparency, merong kaakibat na konkretong ekspresyon at panabagan para sa totoong political reform.
Meron ho ba kayong nakikitang political undertone dito sa 3-day rally?
Well, perhaps from those who are invited and those who are able to speak on the platform that is available in the rally, parang we can read into kung sino yung mga personahe at kaninong kampo mukhang mas malapit yung sentiments nung ilan sa mga narito. No? So, for example, we've heard that the platform was given to Senator Marcoleta, and we know that Senator Marcoleta's inclinations is towards that of the previous administration, the Vice President Duterte.
Yung pong interviews doon sa mga miyembro ng Iglesia ni Cristo, everyone really, it's one voice talking about transparency and accountability, and that's the same for the other protests and even one upcoming on November 30. Congressman, ano ho pa ba ang kailangan gawin ngayon ng gobyerno in a way so that this appeal, this can be fulfilled, this particular appeal of the public can be satisfied?
Well, we have laid out very clearly what the government needs to do. Unang-una, isabada sa lalong madaling panahon, yung totoong Independent Commission on Infrastructure Corruption. Hindi po pwede na presidential creation lamang siya. Hindi po pwedeng dependent siya doon sa appointment at budget ng Office of the President. It has to be created by law. So yung una. Pangalawa, dapat tiyakin na magkaroon tayo ng open bicameral conference. Hindi na pwede na iilang tao lang na nag-uusap kung saan dadalhin ang pondo ng gobyerno. Pangatlo, at ito yung pinaka-importante sa ngayon, is certify as urgent ang ating panukalang batas against political dynasty. And this is the only way that the government can show its sincerity sa efforts nila against corruption.
Okay, I want to talk about that in a bit. Just wanted to get also your thoughts and reactions to Zaldico pointing to Congressman Martin and the President as the ones responsible for the insertion and pocketing 56 billion pesos. First and foremost, do you believe, Zaldico?
Well, he has to come home. Kailangan niya umuwi. Kailangan niyang humarap sa proper venue. Kailangan niyang sumpaan yung kanyang sanaysay. Kasi sabi nga natin, medyo mahirap paniwalaan na via Zoom lang, na video, yung kanyang mga pahayag. So we challenge and we hope that he will come home and he will make and present the necessary evidence para bigyan ng factual basis yung kanyang mga claims. Kasi otherwise, totoo, may political impact, pero yun nga, sa dulo ay magkakaroon ba talaga ng accountability kung hindi siya uuwi at panunumpaan ang kanyang sanaysay. So we also challenge the government to ensure the safe return of former Representative Zaldico kasi paulit-ulit niyang sinasabi, hindi siya umuwi dahil sa threat sa kanyang buhay. At kinakailangang tiyakin niya ng gobyerno na ligtas siya makakauwi sa ating bansa.
In the absence, though, of not being able to notarize this or sumpaan po ito under oath, do you think the ICI or even the Senate should look into his claim?
Well, he has provided leads the same way that various platforms like the Isumbong sa Pangulo at iba't iba pang testimony has provided leads. No? So kailangan tingnan din ng mga concerned institutions like the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee and the ICI itong mga paratang ni Representative Zaldico. Pero sa dulo, kinakailangan umuwi siya at pangpresenta rin siya ng ebidensya kung talagang siya yung nakakaalam.
And if he doesn't do that, what happens?
Well, if he doesn't do that, ang mangyayari ay, ayan, patuloy lamang siya magsasalita at a certain point, people will begin to ask, siya ba talaga ay seryoso sa kanyang sinasabi o ito ay parang political life vest lamang to keep him afloat and escape accountability?
Are you actually personally interested to hear more revelations from him?
Well, we want to hear more revelations from here in the proper forum and with the evidence. Umuwi siya at pakikinggan natin siya.
All right, we need to take a very short break. We'll continue our discussion with Akbayan Party List Representative Perci Cendaña. When we return, stay tuned. This is On Point. Welcome back. Still with us, Akbayan Party List Representative Perci Cendaña. Pag-usapan na po natin ang Anti-Political Dynasty Act. This was filed very recently. But I know that during the opening of the 20th Congress, meron na pong nag-file din ito. Not sure if it's the same as you guys, but there was a original one, a first one filed during the start of the 20th, and then now, again, I think it was also last week. So, my first question about this, you know, it never really saw the light of day. Even if the 1987 Constitution requires or basically says that dynasties are disallowed, pero kailangan po natin ng enabling law. Congressman, ano ho bang magtutulak sa inyo, sa mga kasamahan ninyo, even the senators and government to finally pass and the president sign this into law?
Alam mo, Pinky, in relation to the anti-political dynasty advocacy, this is not Akbayan's first rodeo. Dati pa natin tinutulak na dapat talaga ipagbawal ang political dynasty in keeping up with the spirit of the 1987 Constitution. Na, by the way, 38 years na since it was ratified. No? So, kung matatandaan natin, nagkaroon na dati ng isang enabling law, and that was the SK Reform Act. Akbayan din ang nagtulak at nagpasa noong panukalang batas na yan, na yun yung first time na mayroong anti-political dynasty provision na sinasabi na bawal ang may kamag-anak na elected government officials sa mga tatakbo sa sangguniang kabataan. So, going back to your question, what will finally compel the House of Representatives and the Senate to finally pass this enabling law? Malinaw yung writings on the wall. Galit na galit ang taong bayan sa korupsyon at nanghihingi ng significant political reforms. And nothing short of this will be accepted by the people. At mahalaga na tanggapin natin na nandun tayo sa isang historical conjuncture kung saan yung taong bayan na ang humihiling loudly and angrily na dapat tugunan na ito. Kasi nakita natin kung paanong ang korupsyon madalas nagsisimula sa mga dinastiya.
So you're saying in the past 38 years, has it
8
been?
years.
38
Yes.
years. Would you say hinog na hinog siya ngayon dahil sa galit ng tao?
Hinog na hinog siya at ito talaga yung call of the times. Kanina I was with young people. Today kasi is International Students' Day.
Yeah.
Yes, and there was a mobilization in UP campus. And during my informal conversation with the students, yun talaga, yung ulit-ulit nilang sinasabi na dapat talaga magkaroon na ng anti-political dynasty law ang ating bansa.
Yeah. If Congress talks about even shorter change or changing the Constitution, even with my conversation with Deputy Speaker Ronaldo Puno, I was saying, kung may nakikitang mali sa konstitusyon, bakit hindi muna itama yung mga nakasulat doon na hindi pa ginagawa ng Kongreso? In other words, like the anti-dynasty bill should be passed because it is said in the Constitution na bawal siya. Ang sinasabi lang kailangan ng enabling law. In fact, when we were talking about Chacha, sabi ko, dapat siguro unahin ito bago tingnan yung ibang mga mali sa Constitution. So when I asked him that, he even said, Deputy Speaker Puno was saying, ano ba talaga ang definition ng dynasty? We're gonna put it up on the screen as part of the bill that you filed. So basically, ang ibig sabihin po ng dynasty doon sa bill refers to the concentration, consolidation, or perpetuation of public office and political power by persons related to one another within the fourth degree of consanguinity. Congressman, sa madaling salita, ano ho ba ang definition ng dynasty?
So dito sinasabi natin, ano ba yung mga dynastic relationships? Now, if I may call your attention to our House Bill 5905, sinasabi natin dito, a political dynasty relationship exists when a spouse or a relative within the fourth degree of consanguinity or affinity of an incumbent official, including party list representatives, holds or runs for elective public office, including nomination or substitution under the party list system. Ibig sabihin, under this proposed legislation, una, bawal tumakbo ng sabay. No? Kasi hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na tatakbo kami ng sabay kasi hindi naman kami siguradong mananalo pareho. So even that, pinagbabawal natin. Tapos bawal din na isasucceed mo. Halimbawa, ngayon si Mayor, yung tatay, ang nakaupo, tapos tatakbo si Mrs. Kasi nga nag-max out na ng term si Mayor. Bawal din yun. So yan yung, ganyan natin dinidefine yung dynastic relationship under this proposed legislation.
Congressman, sino ho ba ang fourth degree of consanguinity?
Ayan. Aabot hanggang sa first cousin.
Hanggang pinsan.
Pinsang buo sa Tagalog.
Yes.
Bakit ating sinabi ito? Kasi pag tinignan mo, maraming lugar sa Pilipinas, ganyan yung nangyayari. Minsan, meron ka na mag-asawa, meron na magkapatid, tapos pati sa konseho, meron pa ring mga pinsan. So, kung ang ating sistema ay checks and balance, paano i-check and balance si mayor ng kanyang konseho kung si Mrs. ay kanyang vice mayor at mga pinsan naman niya, yung mga konsehal? Paano naman kung si Vice Mayor i-check and balance ng ating mayor, yung kanyang konseho, kung kanyang mga kamag-anak ang lahat na ito? And we know that in the Philippines, up to the fourth degree, yung mga magpipinsan, given the nature of our familiar relations, talaga halos magkakapatid din ang turingan ng mga yan.
So,
kaya sinagad natin hanggang fourth degree consanguinity.
Yeah, actually, you used the word na sinagad ninyo hanggang fourth degree, hanggang pinsan. Kasi if we were to really simplify it, pagka sinabing political dynasty, minsan hindi na po kasama yung pinsan. Asawa, anak, yun yung mga nangyayari, hindi ho ba? At yung kapatid nung asawa, yung kapatid din nung, o dalawang anak. O kaya sa isang, actually, congressman sa isang lugar, pwedeng yung mag-asawa ay parehong hindi ho ba congressman o senator o mayor, si vice mayor. Kumbaga tinatawag na nga pong itong family business. PCIJ actually showed that, I think this was in 2025 and I'm sure you know of this, 216 out of 253 district representatives belong to political families. 216 out of 253. Sabi nga, of this figure, 142 are re-electionists and 67 have relatives to seek or who seek to replace their kin in their post. So, do you think this is too strict, itong fourth degree of consanguinity?
Well, sa dulo, kinakailangan natin kilalanin yung reality on the ground because this is happening. At sigurado ako, when we do a comprehensive study, aabot talaga sa napakaraming mga up to sa level na magpipinsan na nakaupo sa mga single localities in a province or even across positions from the national up to the local hanggang party list. At nakita naman natin kasi ang tendency kapag concentrated lamang sa isang clan ang kapangyarihan, una, ang nagiging primary concern ay perpetuation of their family in power. Tapos pangalawa, concentrate din yung political opportunities in the area. Kaya ang nangyayari, kahit na merong viable candidates or leaders who are able and capable, nahihirapang makapasok at makapenetrate. And at the same time, kinakailangan talaga i-democratize ang access to political power. Because in the case of the Philippines, access to political power also means access to economic power. So kaya kinakailangan natin i-uncouple yung dalawa na yan. Kahit nga sa negosyo, di ba, kapag merong may monopolyo, ang madalas talo ay yung taong bayan kasi nawawalan sila ng options at kahit pangit yung serbisyo, wala nang choice kundi tangkilikin na lamang yung may monopolyo na yun kasi ganap yung kanilang kapangyarihan and hold to power.
Every time that question is being asked about sa mga politiko who are involved in political dynasties, it's always the common reply to them, to us. Pag tinatanong po namin yan, ang sinasabi ho talaga, nasa botante naman yan eh.
Pero pag sinabi kasi natin gano'n, parang ini-ignore natin yung reality na hindi fair ang election kapag kalaban mo ay political dynasty na entrenched doon sa kapangyarihan sa isang locality and even in the national context. So, kahit sinasabi nila na nasa botante yan, nalilimit talaga ang options ng ating mga botante.
Advantageous talaga para sa incumbent. So again, I want to go back to what you said. Nandun tayo sa fourth degree of consanguinity and bawal ang succession. Even succession ay pinagbabawal dito sa House Bill 5905.
Yes, yung succession pinagbabawal natin kasi may mga nangyayari din na ganyan na mga dynasty na just to preserve this family's hold to power, one after the other yung tatakbo. Para nakaprograma na. Pag natapos ang term, naka 3 terms si tatay, si nanay naman, tapos si anak, tapos babalik uli kay tatay. At yan ay ano pa rin, isa pa rin siyang nakababaldang feature ng political dynasties na meron tayo sa Pilipinas ngayon.
What if this passes into law? What happens if a candidate, sabi nga, skips their family until the fourth degree of consanguinity, skips 3 years or 1 term. After that, pwede na siya ulit tumakbo?
Hindi na uli silang tumakbo, magpahinga yung kanilang pamilya ng isang termino. Pero imagine the opening of democratic space for that particular election na meron mag-uusbong, pwedeng umusbong ng mga bagong mga leader who could be more capable, who could be bearers of good governance, at mas may chance yung mga young politicians and progressives natin na tumakbo at mag-contest ng political position.
Would you be willing to look into what some are saying that masyadong maraming eleksyon sa ating bansa dahil ang termino ng ating politicians in Congress is really just 3 years. So every 3 years, meron pong nangyayaring eleksyon. Sabihin po natin, maipasa itong 5905 or the Anti-Political Dynasty Act. Should the terms of politicians, especially in the lower house, be extended?
Well, that would require charter change, of course. Pero sa akin nga, bago natin pag-usapan yan, subukan muna natin itong systemic reform na ito. Kasi baka sa dulo, ito yung isa sa solusyon na kailangan talaga natin ngayon.
Didn't Speaker D say he actually supports the Anti-Political Dynasty Bill?
Yes, there was this pronouncement by the Speaker at the beginning of our session, itong resumption that he supports the Anti-Political Dynasty Bill. But we have yet to hear ano yung detalye ng sinusuportahan niyang bill, ano yung versions, particularly ano yung coverage at jurisdiction.
And how many family members do the Ds have in politics? I think there's about 7, 8, or 9 of them.
I think there will be more if you include up to the 4th degree of consanguinity.
Okay, ganun kadami. Do you feel he's sincere about his support for this anti-political dynasty bill?
We will hold the Speaker accountable to his commitment that he supports this measure for political dynasty. Pero hopefully, sana yung kanyang dalhin na definition ng political dynasty ay walang exceptions, walang sinasanto, at saka walang mga pinapalusot.
Yun na nga po eh. I guess the question would also be how big of a help will it be if the Speaker actually says he supports this bill?
Well, it's a very important signal to the various bodies within the House of Representatives para i-pick up yung speed when it comes to pieces of legislation directly mentioned and identified as priority of the Speaker. For example, now we appreciate that our bill for the Independent Commission on Infrastructure Corruption is moving at a relatively fast pace, and hopefully we'll also see something like this of a pace when it comes to our political dynasty legislation. But most importantly, we hope that we call on and challenge the President to certify this as urgent.
216 out of 253 district representatives belong to political families prior to the 2025 elections. How do you intend to encourage yung inyong mga kapwa congressman at congresswoman? Isama na rin po natin yung mga party list representatives para once and for all, ipasa na po itong anti-political dynasty bill.
Well, of course, medyo mahirap na kumbinsihan ito kasi they're going to vote against their self-interest. But this is their chance to prove that they are true public servants. And this is also their chance to help revive, save the integrity of the legislature, particularly the House of Representatives.
Kung sakaling dumating po, Congressman, sa bargaining, kumbaga, would you be able to adjust this bill either siguro not as strict as fourth-degree consanguinity or posibleng payagan po ang succession?
Well, we have yet to discuss that with my fellow authors, particularly yung mga kasama ko sa Akbayan, si Representative Kakabagaw, who is called the Dragon Slayer kasi kalaban talaga siya ng dynasty sa Dinagat, Kong Chel Jokno and the Dakiram Ismula. Ayaw muna namin pag-usapan ano yung compromises kasi sa dulo, hindi ito ang panahon ng compromise. This time is a time for great, important, significant political reforms. And the people, especially mga nananawagan ng transparency, deserve nothing less.
Akbayan Party List Representative Perci Cendaña, maraming salamat po sa inyong oras.
Maraming salamat at bonggang-bonggang gabi po sa ating lahat.
That's On Point. Join us again tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. here on BNC, the Billionario News Channel. I'm Pinky Webb. Thank you for watching.